How's it going, guys? My name is Josh.
And I'm Wendy.
This is our van. It's a Lexus. It's a 2004 E350 and we're hanging out in Florida.
So welcome to the kitchen. This is definitely my favorite thing about our van, especially with our live edge blue pine slab that we have here. And this is from Oregon, which is actually where I'm from and where one day when we're done with van life, we'll probably settle down. So we put this together and Josh's dad helped us out and we epoxied it, and it's been just like so beautiful. It's usually the first thing that people notice about the van. We have some real succulents and some, you know, fake ones depending. I did not think I could grow anything when I first got in here, but I was encouraged by some other van lifers and schoolies that, you know, you can make it work. So that's been encouraging to see. This is our sink, and it's actually made out of a mixing bowl from one of my friends. We had just got the slab, and we knew we wanted to put something about that size. So we were using it as just like a gauge, and she's like, well, if you want that, you can have it. And we're like, we're gonna have to find something. So mixing bowl it is, and just found this, you know, faucet for like 15 bucks or something on Amazon, so that's really nice. So we have a Eureka Stove that's just a 2-burner stove that we bring out here, but that way we can cook in here when it's cold or when it's first thing in the morning, we just want some coffee. And we can bring it outside too when it's a nice day and we just want to be, you know, out there. We have some magnetic spices here. So these ones have been really nice. We've never had an issue with those like falling down even on like really bumpy roads. So we mostly use like the bigger spices here. And a couple of our utensils. We have this awesome knife block that actually a lot of the stuff in here, we were getting married right when we were planning out the van. So all of our wedding registry was like at REI or stuff we knew we could use in the van too. So this is one of those things where we're like, we don't want one of those big old things with knives, but we just want like enough that we can have, you know, our 4 or 5 knives, and it looks cool too. Still, it's like a good wood color. We have these 2 cabinets up here that do most of our kind of some random storage up there. It's not just pantry items. This one up here just hosts like some craft supplies and different things. Like I'm pretty sure that's my dog's tick medicine, which we didn't realize we would need until he started getting like 20 ticks at a time up in New England. So that's helped that situation. We have a ton of our hats up here. Games, we're big game people, so we're always playing like cribbage or hand and foot canasta or anything you can play with 2 people. Mostly a lot of cards. So this is where we keep all of our plates and bowls and our French press, which is very important. We have a little espresso maker, just kind of one of those stovetop ones, but another thing that I got on my wedding registry that I knew I would put in the van. So these cabinets we actually found for sale at like a Home Depot, and I think they were $100 for the pair of them. We were gonna do custom cabinets just because of the dimensions and everything like that, but found these, and they're maybe a little smaller than we thought we would have liked, but they've worked out really well so far. So right here we have our pull-out table, which is inspired after a cutting board. You know, this is actually one of my prized workings because Josh is definitely the carpenter of the 2 of us, but I've had to learn a lot. So I did this all by myself with the sliders, and so that's probably like my one thing that's like solely me in this vehicle. We work here, we eat here, we can somehow manage 2 of us, and actually our dog a lot of times will sit back here with us, but it's cozy, but we like it. Down here is where our freshwater and gray water lives, trash, some cleaning stuff. We've got like, our sponges here. We actually just have a foot pump, so not electric at all for our water. And that's worked really well for us. You know, sometimes it's a pain, and, you know, I wish we had electric at times, but it's also saves our battery, so that's a lot better too. In these 2 drawers is kind of more our like toiletries. So this is Josh's, he's taller, so I always give him the top drawers of everything. So that's Josh's, mine in there. I have, you know, this lovely garbage bag, or the kind of bag that I use for bringing into Planet Fitness, so that works super well. Totally recommend it. In the middle here under the bed we have our clothing storage. So we each have one of the sections. I sewed these covers here so they can be rolled up if you want them out of the way, or just to make it a little nicer you can kind of keep them down. So mine down here, you'll see that for our clothes we have just these storage bags that have been really good. We just got them at Bed Bath & Beyond. We each have maybe like 3 of these. Neither one of us is big. We have to have all the clothes or anything like that. So that's worked out really well for us. And those just slide in and out, which is nice. The whole storage we have under here is actually a bathroom vanity. So similar thing as up here. We got it for about maybe $100 and it was on sale and it just matched. We did our own knobs. They kind of remind me of Lord of the Rings. A big nerd with that. So they're like the Tree of Gondor, if anybody gets that. We have over here just our silverware. We've got measuring cups, some knives, whatever we need in there. And then in the last drawer, more seasonings. Look, Old Bay, top and center right there. So both of us had wanted to do this for years, so probably going back 10 or maybe even more. We liked the lifestyle, we liked the minimalism. We each had different thoughts of how we'd wanted to do it, but when we were first getting to know each other, we actually met in Central America. And when we first got to know each other, that was one of the things that kind of kept us a little bit interested always, was knowing, hey, one day they want to live in a van and just travel the U.S.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it started, and it's kind of grown from there, and our kind of two thought processes have aligned to be what this is right now, today. So.
Yeah. So in terms of like transitioning to living on the road, we were fortunate in a way to kind of do that pretty slowly. We took about 2 years of time building out the van, and during that time we would put something in, put the floors in, take a weekend trip, build the bed platform, go out for a week. So that really helped us kind of hone in what we wanted, where stuff was. Another thing that was helpful, which feels weird saying, is COVID. Both of our jobs forced us to work remotely, and that was tough, but one of the nice things about it is that we could go on longer trips and see what it was like living in the van again as we were finishing up the build and doing it for shorter periods of time, a couple weeks, a couple months. And so by the time we did move into the van full time a little over 6 months ago, we had already spent so much time in here that the little things like how do we change the gray water, or how much power are we going to have, we'd kind of figured that sort of stuff out in a lower stakes setting when we still had a brick and mortar home that we could return to. So the transition went relatively smoothly. I would say if you're thinking about building out a van yourself and you have the luxury of taking your time doing it, I would recommend that. It's super cool when people can build a whole rig and move into it in a month or something, but to slow it down, we've found at least that that's really helped us kind of gradually move into it and make sure things are going to work the way we want them to work.
So right here is our bench slash couch slash, spot where Sprocket sleeps, our chocolate lab. But it's also where we have our fridge. So when we want to access the fridge, we just move this out on the bed or down there. And this is a Dometic fridge. It's 75 liters. And this, again, was another wedding gift. So these things can be kind of spendy, but we put this on our registry as kind of like if someone happens to get it, that's super generous, awesome. And we actually got it as a gift. But the storage is plenty for us. We can pretty much go like a week, sometimes more if we're really trying to, with everything in there. You can do a freezer on one side, but we usually just do fridge. We have a lot of fresh fruit and veggies and things like that we go through. So right here we have a few of our shoes. Actually, these are mostly mine right now, but Josh every now and then gets a slot on the shoe rack. We love the bungee cord storage. We have a ton of bungees in here and we'll show some of those, but that's been really nice. So back here we have our bed. It is a full-size bed, and actually the bed that we had in our house before this. So super comfortable. We oftentimes can't get out of it in the morning because it's a little too comfortable, so we should think about that. But we have just kind of different storage things here. This is Josh's side, so we just found this thing at Target and it holds some of his books, and that's all he needs on this side. He's endeavoring to learn the guitar, so this is this is here often, and it's, you know, we're preparing to get some lessons in, but right now that's stays there a lot of the time. So on this side of the bed, this is my side, so I made kind of a crappy little shelf back there. We thought about ripping it out a couple times because it is not done very well. But it is helpful, so I use that for some books and mugs and wine glasses or whatever we need back there. And I love our little shelves. I actually used wood from our blue pine wood in here to make those shelves, and those have been great for books. And we have books. We probably have like 75 books in here. There's a few on display, and there's a ton in our cabinet storage as well. So as you can see, we have kind of a cabin feel. We love the wood in here, and we did not skimp on, we probably foolishly got the normal thick shiplap wood for our blue pine slabs all in here. So that's been, I honestly would not change that. I love the way it feels in here, and it still smells like wood whenever you come in here. It feels really like a cabin. We have our fan up here. That's very nice. It kind of blows in or out. It's a Dometic fan, so that works well, just to kind of keep it cooler in here. Or a lot of times if Sprocket's hanging out in here, we'll just turn on the fan for him just so it stays cool for him. This is my plant that I've managed to keep alive through the winter and is loving Florida. So it's starting to sprout like a ton of new leaves. I'm really proud of that so far. So we planned to do van life. At first, it was just about a year. We were like, well, we're gonna take a year, and actually the name of our Instagram is called the 7th Year Van. And that came from, it's actually in Exodus in the Bible, just about taking a sabbatical year, and every 7th year, the Israelites would rest the land, and then they would give back, and they would let people come in and like eat their crops, and that would just be on every 7th year. And so we've sort of taken that as like a practice of, we want to rest this year, we want to be able to give back, and I think we've enjoyed it so much that we were like, let's do a Sabbath year, but also it could extend.
Yeah.
So both of us have started picking up kind of jobs here and there that will allow us to do that, because we had previously just saved what we thought we would need for the year. So this has really been nice because it's allowed us to really not skimp on experiences that we maybe otherwise would have. So we were just down in the Everglades, and you know, renting a kayak for 20 or 30 bucks it can be a lot when you're trying to live really simply and minimally. But knowing that, hey, I'm just going to work an extra hour and that'll be fine, that's really been helpful to know that I don't know when the end is in sight. So right now we're talking maybe another year
from now,
but I'm guessing that we'll say that as the months progress.
Yeah.
So in 6 months we'll be like another year, and you know.
So in terms of electrical stuff, we have a pretty simple setup. We have 200 watts of solar up top, and then just a 400 watt-hour Goal Zero battery. We did pretty much everything in the build on our own, but I joke that I'm scared of anything I don't understand, and I really don't understand electricity. And we've heard like scary stories of people's electrical systems shorting and like burning down their rig. So we just opted to go really simple with the Goal Zero, and it's worked well for us. The only thing that we run off of that is our fridge, our fan, and then just charging devices. Our lights are on batteries. We have a foot pump for our sink. So the 400 watt hour has done the trick, but we've talked a lot about upgrading to a 500 or even to 1,000. So in terms of the battery, a big thing that we changed about halfway through our build when we weren't in it full time, but we're doing some trips, is we did mount our solar permanently to the top. We put up a big kind of, we call it our rooftop patio, or Wendy calls it our terrace, and we did mount both of our panels up there. Before, when we wanted to charge, we'd have to pull the panels out of the back and plug them in, and that was just a huge process. We didn't do that often. But now that we've had them up there, if it's a sunny day like today, we can fully charge this battery in just a couple hours, and that's nice. But again, if we have an overcast day, especially we say the worst weather for us is overcast and hot, our fridge will tank this battery in a day. So if it's cloudy, we'll go through the 400 watt hour pretty quickly, which is why we've considered upgrading. Another thing that we really like about the van is up front, we've got the Swiveling captain's chair. And in order to make that happen, we actually had to get rid of the stock center console. It wouldn't swivel with it in place, and it was just a real pain to have to take in and out. So we made one that, you know, fit us well. We could fit our Nalgene in it, which is really nice. Made some little phone holders. And we still have to take that out to swivel our chair around, but it's real easy to just pop in and out. So whenever we're staying anywhere longer than a quick night, we'll swivel it around, and that really opens up the space a lot better. One last thing up here, up top, we've got our pantry. This is where we keep most of our unperishable foods. We've also got some other kind of random miscellaneous stuff up there. We keep our towels up there. Some of Wendy's kind of like craft supplies she keeps up there. But that was really nice to just fill up this bulkhead. There was so much space up there. So closing that off and just using that for storage is what made a really big difference. So welcome to the outside of the van. This is my favorite part of the van. We always say we don't live in the van, we live out of it. So we spend a lot of time out here. One of the things that makes that feasible is this shade awning. I actually got it from Van Life Gear Company, and if you're looking to get one, I highly recommend this guy. It's super easy to set up. We set it up, it keeps the sun off of us, it keeps the rain off of us, so we use that a lot. You can also see up there we've got our patio, our terrace as Wendy calls it. We've got our 200 watts of solar up on the front end, and then the back end is completely empty. So we'll go up there sometimes and just hang out, watch the sunset, have a picnic. We did opt to go with some all-terrain tires, and even just this weekend as we were hanging out with some people, we got some questions about that in terms of how it affected gas mileage, and I can't say for sure, but we really like to be able to just like take this van wherever we want. It is two-wheel drive, so that limits us a little bit, but we didn't want snow or mud or rough roads to really stop us. So even though we are like traveling cross-country, we didn't want to be slowed down because we couldn't make it on a dirt road. So we have the Falcon Wild Peak tires, and they've served us really well. So welcome to the back of the van. This is definitely business in the front, party in the back. We've got our mountain bikes out here. I grew up the son of a mountain biker. My dad raced every week, and I was taught to never leave a bike outside. So having to keep our mountain bikes outside was scary for me at first, but we're pretty stoked with the setup we had. When we realized that we wanted to take mountain bikes on the road, we'd already built our bed platform in there, and we couldn't fit them in the van. And so we were looking into outside storage solutions, and bike racks all seemed super expensive. So we went with these Kuat dirt bag racks, and then that's a kind of generic one there, which are actually meant to go in like a bed of a pickup truck, just to hold the bike in. And we've had them on here for about 30,000 miles and never had an issue with it. Wendy and I often joke that we've got like way too many hobbies for living in a van. So if you look in here, we've got this back area pretty much full to the brim. Believe it or not, there is a third bike down here. I do a lot of BMX as well as mountain biking, so I've got a BMX bike down there. We've got an 8-foot inflatable paddleboard back in there a little ways. We've got all of our like backpacking and camping gear in here, camp chairs, outdoor table. So pretty much enough stuff to just help us have fun no matter where we are. We also have our propane shower, which Wendy insisted on. My father-in-law makes fun of me because I hate showering, so I really did not want to bring a shower in the van, but we have a shower. Got some clay pigeons. We've got our 2 extra water jugs out here. So we carry 18 gallons of fresh water, 12 in the back, 6 up front, so we can switch those out when we need. We've got a propane tank that we fill our little 1-pounders with. These are pretty hard to come by, and when you do, they're pretty expensive. So we found that just filling them up save some waste, save some money, so that's been nice too. So like I mentioned inside, we did decide kind of after we had done the build to add a rooftop deck, storage, whatever up here, and because we have a fiberglass extension, that fiberglass isn't weight bearing. So we had to figure out a way to kind of mount stuff up there without mounting directly onto the fiberglass. So the only one that we could find that was long enough, our extension's about 2 feet, was Vantech. They make a system specifically for conversion vans. Don't quote me on this, but each one of these racks is rated for about 150 to 200 pounds. So we can fit like 400 to 600 pounds up there. We've got 2 200-watt solar panels, and then Wendy and I can climb up this ladder and sit up there as well and watch the sunset, have a picnic, stuff like that. We haven't used the patio side of it quite as much as maybe we thought we would, but just having the solar panels up there by far makes up for the fact that we've maybe got another couple hundred pounds and a couple $100 worth of a deck up there.
have just started working with an old boss of mine, and it's just doing some consulting and recruiting, so application processing and things like that. And it's very flexible. The hours are just super flexible. I can make my own schedule, and I usually work about 10 hours a week, so it's nothing big time.
Yeah, and again, we were kind of initially planning on not working at all, and so we've been very intentional to not let work kind of take over the other things that we're wanting to do while we're on the road, in terms of seeing different people, doing different things, enjoying our hobbies. So yeah, I'm working, 15 to 20 hours a week and doing graphic design and video editing. And that's been pretty cool. I kind of stumbled into that a little bit. I grew up as a kid, like at skate parks, riding BMX and making skate videos, my friends and I, so I did a lot of video editing, and slowly that turned into doing some animation, and through that doing more graphic design and vector illustration. And so it was actually Wendy who first encouraged me to try and monetize that, because I talked her into letting me buy Adobe Premiere to make skate videos of me and my friends as an adult, because I never grew up. And she said, well, if we're gonna spend all that money, maybe you could try to do it for work. So this was well before I moved into the van, but it's grown since then, and it's been pretty fun to be able to allow us to spend a little bit extra on some of the cool experiences we want to do, but then also be able to empower others to, enjoy their time living in a van, in a school, in a tiny house, and, help them out making an intro to their YouTube video or designing them a sweet sticker that they can hand out. It's been a pretty cool way to just add a little bit of income while I've been on the road.
So you can follow us on Instagram. We don't have a YouTube channel or anything like that. So Instagram at the 7th Year Van is where
all spelled out.
Yeah, all spelled out. That's where we document just our travels, and we do that pretty well, pretty regularly. You might not hear from us for a couple weeks or something if we're doing something really fun. But then we usually try to update and keep family and friends, and really be able to connect with people on the road. And then his Instagram.
Yeah. Van Life Media, and if you're looking for just a sticker, a video, or you just want to see some cool drawings of other vans, that's how we first got inspired to do it, is we saw other people who were doing that on Instagram, and we were cheap, and we were like, let's see if we can do it ourselves. So if you're looking for a sticker or you just want to see some cool designs, you can follow Van Life Media too.
So thanks for joining us. It's a little tight and cramped in here, so we're gonna have to say goodbye, but we hope to see you on the road.
Yeah, and if you ever see us, don't be shy. Come and say hey. Don't knock in the middle of the night, but if it's like in the afternoon, feel free to knock, and we love to introduce ourselves.